Hey everyone, the Third Edict is almost here. You're staring at your character screen, coffee in hand, 6 tabs of build guides open, and the question is still the same. What are you starting on day one? Here's my take. Pick a safe archetype that you enjoy and have a pivot ready. Not because doom posts are scary, but because the notes are still in the initial pass, some skills numbers are still moving, and we don't have the full passive tree yet. If you choose something flexible, a last minute nudge won't nuke your fun. You'll just swap a couple gems, maybe 10, 15 points, and keep blasting. If it was okay or even good last league, odds are it's still solid. If it was an outlier, expect it to get reeled in. Don't chase a day one tier list that expires in 48 hours. Choose something that clears the campaign smoothly and maps on a budget with a built-in plan B. The Third Edict has a major balance pass. We have the initial notes, but they're not final. Some trees, gems, and keystones may shift and change. A few skills will get nudged up or down, and we don't even have the full passive tree. So let's just stick to the fundamentals. Clear speed you control, single target that scales, and layered defenses. What makes a good PoE2 league starter? Well, you want to make sure you have a smooth campaign progress. You don't want to be stuck in Act 2 because you're missing a key piece of the build. You also want some low dependency on gear. You want to be able to run on rares and crafted gear or vendor upgrades. You don't want to be reliant on uniques that might be hard to get. You also want to layer your defenses. So you want to be able to pick 2 or 3 layers on top of capping your resistances. Many defenses were reworked. For example, block now applies to most damage, but also caps at 50% instead of 75. That looks worse on paper, but we won't truly know until we play with it. If you choose block and it feels weak, be ready with an alternate layer. And then have a clear pivot. If your whole build idea doesn't work out, you should have a backup in mind that doesn't require creating an entirely new character. First up, I'm probably going to league start as a cold bow Deadeye, using lightning arrow builds as a guide and a fallback. It should have the same snappy projectile feel that makes bow starts so comfortable. You path through bow, projectile, and elemental nodes that will work no matter which element wins out. Early on, I'm just going to grab a fast bow, stack attack speed, and a bit of flat elemental damage. Then I want to add a reliable source of exposure and keep enemies chilled to stay safe while I'm clearing. Because they removed the support gem limits, I can also have one skill decked out for clear and a second one for single target. If cold ends up being a little light, I'll be able to quickly shift into lightning arrow. Swapping over should mostly be gems and supports shuffling around with minimal respecking. Your tree and gear should still be good. A couple new things I want to try is Mirage Archer. It creates a Mirage Archer when you dodge roll and auto attacks with a targeted ranged attack for a short time. Also, Ice Tipped Arrows. A cold leading option that empowers your next Barrage Arrow attack to create ice fragments on hit. Next up, if you like the run and gun crossbow fantasy, then Wooly's run and gun Witch Hunter is a great option. The core loop is Galvanic Shards for clear and Shock Burst rounds for single target, and use Volcanic Mark and Connectivity for tanky mobs, and then just keep moving. The patch buffed this archetype. Crossbows don't slow you down while reloading anymore, and some reload penalties were eased, and there's new tech that lets dodge rolls interact with reloads, so the build keeps its always moving identity. As a backup, if Galvanic Shards feels off, or you want more of a fire and forget main skill, you can pivot to Explosive Shot Witch Hunter. You keep the crossbow and projectile pathing and the same defensive shell. The trees in the guides are different, but you should be able to use the new skills on the old tree at least for a while. And if you'd rather be up close and personal, Volcanic Fissure Firebringer looks like a great choice. The mapping flow is simple. You use your Forge Hammer to throw and recall your hammer. And for bosses or tanky mobs, use Infernal Cry to make your attacks do fire damage, throw your hammer, create fissures, and use Ancestral Cry to let your steps cause the fissures to erupt. The chain of eruptions will take care of the rest. It's sturdy, readable, and forgiving. More of a bulldozer than a zoomer, but should be a consistent league start. Early gearing is straightforward. Grab a high DPS weapon and stack life and armor. Add a touch of attack speed so the animation feels smooth, and you should be good. If Volcanic Fissure feels off, you can pivot to Armor Break Warbringer. It shares a lot of the same pathing, so the pivot is mostly gem links and the later passive points. The main variant switches to Giant's Blood and a two-hander, but there is a one-hander variant if Giant's Blood changes make it terrible. If you like a spellcaster that never stops moving, Anime Princess's Stormweaver Sorcerer looks like a great option. You combine high cast speed with a lot of new features made possible by the changes in this patch. While mapping, you use Arc with Mana Tempest and Flame Wall. That's right, Arc now works with Flame Wall. And then when you run into harder mobs, you'll use Orb of Storms to gain Lightning Infusion. And then you can also add in Firestorm and Lightning Conduit to drop bosses quickly. If Arc is falling a bit flat, there should be a ton of options here due to the new infusion tech. One option already available is Frostbolt Cast on Crit Comet. This build has mostly been buffed from what I can see. You use Frostbolt for clear and Cast on Crit for single target. You want to have the Snake Pit ring before using Cast on Crit, but you can use Cast on Ailment instead until you have it. There are some significant tree changes here, so swapping will be harder. If you don't want to make such major changes or don't have the gold for the respec, there should be a ton of other guides popping up in the first few days. So that's my shortlist. These are just suggestions, so use them as a starting point. Then bend them to your playstyle and the loot you actually find. If something gets changed on day one, you've already got some ideas of where you can pivot to. One important reminder, most guides will have an update as information lands. So before you lock in, check for fresh notes on whatever guides you're following. Look for an update date or a change log or a pinned what's changed section. If you've got a spicy starter idea or a clever pivot I didn't mention, share it in the comments so everyone can benefit. And if you want to watch this all play out live, I'll be streaming my league start on Twitch. Link in the description. Come hang out, ask questions, and see if I actually follow my own advice. Have a good one.